Hi, hello and welcome back to F1 Challenge VB. My name is Mephisto and our epic journey through the history of Formula 1 continues today with the 8th round of the 1958 season, the German Grand Prix. It was held on the 3rd of August, it had 26 entries, 25 of them took part in the race with 14 of them having to retire. The race consisted of 15 laps completed in 2 hours, 21 minutes and 15 seconds. Mike Hawthorne started the race from pole with Tony Brooks in 2nd, Moss 3rd, Peter Collins 4th and Von Trips started from 5th. Tony Brooks drove an amazing race to win the German Grand Prix. Salvadori came in 2nd, he was 3 minutes 29.7 seconds behind. Trintignant finished in 3rd, he was 5 minutes 11.2 seconds behind. Von Trips crossed the line in 4th, he was 6 minutes 16.3 seconds behind, whilst Bruce McLaren rounded off the top 5, he was 6 minutes 26.3 seconds behind. Sterling Moss scored the fastest lap of the race and he did it in 9 minutes 9.2 seconds. We returned to the Nordschleife for the German Grand Prix where a lap starts off with a long run down into turn 1, a tight left-hander followed immediately by turn 2, a 180-degree right-hand hairpin. This brings us on to a long straight that runs parallel with the main straight, and it ends with a tight left-hander. Later on we come into one of the most dangerous corners on the track. It's a medium-speed blind right-hander. Be very careful through here as the slightest miscalculation will send you crashing into the foot of the bridge at the exit. Further along, we come into a slow left-hander, start braking early and be mindful of the sides of the bridge. This is followed by a slow blind right-hander that goes up a hill. Once again be very careful, take it easy and don't apply too much power, especially when you reach the top of the hill. Eventually we come into one of the most iconic corners in motorsports, the carousel. Aim for the second tree from the right and feed the car through the bowl, making sure not to use too much power. Later still we come into the mini carousel. This one's slightly easier to navigate but could still catch you off guard if you're not careful. This is followed by a very long right-hander that brings us onto the longest straight in Formula 1. You finally have some time to breathe before coming into the final corner of the track, a high-speed open left-hander which brings us onto the main straight, and that is a lap around the Nordschleife circuit, aka the Green Hell. And here we are in qualifying, coming around to set as always our one and only qualifying lap, a 8 minute 23.049 second lap, which isn't all that good, but given the length of this circuit I'm not all that worried, even though Maurice Trintignant posted a 8:16 second lap. And here are the previous German Grand Prix winners. We've won this twice already, so that's quite nice. But now let's take a look at the grid lineup, and we have Hawthorne on pole with Tony Brooks in 2nd, Roy Salvadori 3rd, Trintignant 4th, and Graham Hill rounding off the top 5. Jack Brabham is 6th. Yes, Jack Brabham is 6th, Mastin Gregory 7th, Andy Higgs in 8th, Bruce McLaren 9th, 10th is Luigi Musso followed by Lewis Evans in 11th, Sterling Moss 12th, Joe Bonnier 13th, 14th is Phil Hill, 15th Gendebian, 16th Harry Schell, 17th is Peter Collins, Juan Manuel Fangio is 18th, 19th is Von Trips, and finally we have Jean Berra in 20th. So that's the grid lineup for the German Grand Prix, and we are looking forward to a good race. One thing to note though, kind of a spoiler, the game before I clicked on the race button said that we will be having a dry race, and as you'll soon see that's utter lie, as Mike Hawthorne there in the Ferrari crashes into me twice. I have no idea why. If he was trying to block me, well, that's not how you block people, you don't drive into people. But anyway, here we are coming through turn 2. We managed to gain 2 positions off the start, which is quite unusual, let's just say that. Right behind us is Graham Hill, and we can slightly see the sky turning gray. So yeah, so much for a dry race. Anyway, here is a replay of the start. Once again, a pretty decent start off the line, but then Mike Hawthorne kind of decided that, well, why not crash into other people, and So I had to back off. I didn't want to destroy my car before the lap is over. That would have been quite bad. But anyway, here's a replay of Jean Berra, who is having some problems with his brakes. He fails to slow through the corner and then gets stuck on this sign. Although, well, without brakes he obviously wouldn't have continued. Next we have Joe Bonnier coming through this left-hander, loses control of his car, crashes into the fence, and he loses his front right. Next we have Harry Schell, who loses control of his VRam, ends up flies over the fence and ends up upside down. So does Gendebian in the yellow Ferrari, and he is obviously out. Next we have Wolfgang von Trips, who we see there in the back, loses control of his Ferrari and also ends up behind the fence, and this is Graham Hill doing the exact same thing. So those are the first retirements of the race as we come through this right-hander, this very dangerous right-hander. We move up into third thanks to all of that, and later on, this is still the opening lap, and Salvadori manages to overtake me. Then Maston Gregory also overtakes me, as well as Bruce McLaren, so we fall down to 6th, and right behind us is Jack Brabham, just 0.3 of a second behind, and we hear thunder in the background. Lewis Evans, Musa, and someone else also managed to overtake us a little bit later on, still on the opening lap. Then Phil Hill overtakes us through this left-hander as we come up through this blind right-hander, another dangerous corner. Sterling Moss is right on our tailpipe, just 0.3 of a second behind us, and later he manages to overtake us through the carousel, taking a very odd line through there, but he managed to pull it off, so kudos to him. As we reached the mini carousel, the rain started falling, and there is Mike Hawthorne overtaking us. He completely ignored the carousel, but then as we come around to finish the lap, Mike Hawthorne kind of decided to just park his car, and we managed to overtake him as we come around to finish the opening lap, and someone was driving straight at us there, not sure what was going on. That was quite a scary moment, but we moved back into 6th as a bunch of cars, or rather drivers, decide to retire. We move further onto lap 2 here, very slowly as the car has literally no grip through here. And here we see a replay of Phil Hill losing control of his Ferrari and crashing into the pits. That's quite dangerous. Then we see Sterling Moss doing the exact same thing. We see some tires flying around. Salvadori also loses control of his car, not entirely sure what's going on. He hits the pits and he is out of the race. Next we have Juan Manuel Fangio, who also loses control of his car. How do you lose control of your car on a straight bit of road? I don't quite understand this. This is Tony Brooks doing the same thing. What? Next we have Mike Hawthorne. What exactly is going on, guys? I really cannot explain this. Then we finally see Lewis Evans coming into the pits to retire. Well, at least he went into the pits. Anyway, as we start lap 3 here, we move into the lead of the race. I'm not sure if there are how many more people are left in the race, but I'm pretty sure not too many. As we now take a look at a replay of Maston Gregory, who comes into the pits to retire as well. So that's him out of the race, and then Bruce McLaren loses control of his car and he is also out of the race. So with that, I think there are 2 more people left in the race, something like that, and there are still 2 more laps, 2.5 laps left in this race. Well, more than a half, but anyway, on lap 5, here we are on lap 5, coming around to finish the race. And, well, kind of disappointing, really. Not a lot has happened, aside from the fact that Maurice Trintignant somehow managed to post the fastest lap of the race. And here are the retirements. Well, Trintignant and Brabham technically finished the race, although they were 3 laps behind, which means they haven't completed 90% of race distance, so they're technically retired. So yeah, that was kind of the German Grand Prix. Unfortunately, we had a fatality during this race. We have lost Peter Collins in an absolutely horrible crash. That's kind of sad. It's always sad when someone dies. But yeah. Anyway, that was the German Grand Prix. A very, very disappointing race once again. Just as disappointing as the last race. So yeah. Not much more to add to that. So let's move on. Here are the career statistics, and this was Andy's 73rd Grand Prix. His best start is from first, has 3 pole positions, has set 14 fastest laps, his best finishes in first, has completed 51 races, 44 of them in the points, has won 28 Grand Prix, 4 of them at the Indianapolis 500, 4 in Monaco, has 5 championships under his belt, has scored a total of 303 points, has retired 22 times, has experienced 1,686 out of 2,052 laps, has 5 bronze trophies, 6 silver trophies, 28 gold trophies, and as an extension, 28 podiums. And here is a quick look at the championship standings. Andy Hicks is leading the championship with Tony Brooks in second, Sterling Moss and Roy Salvadori sharing third on 15 points, and at the very bottom we have, actually the last person to score points is Graham Hill, who is in 10th, and at the very bottom we have Juan Manuel Fangio. And looking at the standings, Brooks could still win, potentially. There are enough points left in the championship for him to win if we do not score any points at all in the coming races, but I think that's going to be quite difficult for him. Anyway, let's move on to the Constructors' Championship, and here we have Lotus leading the championship with 34 points, Van Wall in second with 24, then we have Cooper and Maserati in third and fourth respectively. And we've started dropping points for the constructors as well, so that's exciting, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, that was the German Grand Prix. Quite a disappointment, as pretty much all of the races this season, to be quite brutally honest with you. I really don't have words to describe how I feel about this season, really. The Indianapolis 500 was pretty good, the Belgian Grand Prix was pretty good, the French Grand Prix was quite okay, but all other races were complete disasters, and I don't know what to expect from the remaining 3 races of the season. But yeah. Anyway, our next race is the Portuguese Grand Prix. This is going to be the first time we will be racing there, so that's quite exciting. I have no idea what to expect there. I'm keeping my fingers crossed and hope that more people will finish. I'm hoping to see a Belgium or a France or a Indianapolis 500 once again. That might not come to fruition, but I'm still hopeful, so yeah. But anyway, that is the end of the German Grand Prix, the end of this video. Once again, as I said like a billion times already, quite disappointing, but not much I can do about that, unfortunately. Anyway, don't forget to vote for next season's team, link is in the description. I also have a second channel where I will be playing all sorts of different games. At the moment I'm doing a playthrough of the original Need for Speed Underground, so if you're interested there is a link in the description to that as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, stay sharp!